everybody. Welcome to English for You. I'm Kat.
And I'm Mike.
And today we are talking about filmmaking.
Ooh.
Yeah, very cool. So we're not talking about, like going to see a movie, but the process of making a movie.
Wow, okay.
And it takes a lot of different kinds of jobs to do that.
It does. If you've ever watched a movie, especially these days with all the people who do the computer stuff, and then there's all the people who do the normal movie-making stuff, that list of names goes on for 10 minutes sometimes.
Oh, gosh, you got the director, the producer, the cameraman, like all sorts of cameramen.
And then you have those strange jobs like the gaffer, the best boy, the Foley artist.
Yeah.
Unusual names for unusual jobs, but very normal jobs in the filmmaking business. So there's everything from, the directors, producers, and stars who get all the attention to the caterers who make the food, the hairdressers who do all the hairstyles and all
makeup
that.
Artists.
Makeup artists, the lighting people, electricians, carpenters, all sorts that work together as a massive team to make all the great movies that we see.
Yeah, and the list goes on, but I think there's one job that's kind of gets overlooked, but it's actually extremely...
Lots, but which one?
There's an extremely important job when you are, after the script has been written and when things are about to be filmed, but there's kind of a step in between where you have to find, basically proofread the script for how it's going to look.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So kind of find if there's anything that's going to look weird from one shot to another.
Oh, interesting. So they kind of just make sure that the story makes sense. And when they're filming it, it continues to make sense. And they don't sort of forget things or, ignore things that will make us viewers go, wait a minute, that glass wasn't on that table before. Or something like
or that person's hair was red in the last shot. Now it's blue.
He was wearing a watch before, but now the watch has disappeared. Interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to learn about this particular kind of job, and we're going to learn about what they have to do. So let's go ahead and go to the article and find out more about it.
All right, time to pay attention.
Reading.
Script supervisors, the continuity experts. You're watching a movie when you notice something strange. Just a moment ago, the actress finished drinking a glass of water. But in the very next shot, the glass is full again. This is what's known as a continuity error, something that doesn't make sense from shot to shot. It's the responsibility of the script supervisor to spot these things and correct them. Being a script supervisor is a complicated job. Script supervisors start their work as soon as they receive a movie script. They break it down into scenes, noting every character, sound effect, special effect, and prop. In the old days, they used paper breakdown sheets to record this, but now there are computer programs to help them. This process organizes the script so the film crew knows which scenes it will shoot on each day. It also means everyone knows what's required for each scene. This is just the tip of the iceberg, though. There's even more work to do when the shooting starts. Okay, so today's article starts out by talking about the scenario of watching a movie. So after the end product has already been made, you're watching a movie when you notice something strange.
All right. So there we are, we're enjoying our movie, but then something strange happens. It's not part of the movie. It doesn't mean an alien has suddenly appeared or something, but there's something you notice, kind of a mistake in a movie. It says, just a moment ago, the actress finished drinking a glass of water.
Okay.
So there's this woman, she's playing a character and she's talking and maybe has a glass of water. You notice that she drinks the glass of water and she seems to finish it. Now, she should be holding an empty glass in her hand, right?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
But
in the very next shot, the glass is full again.
And then you tap your friend on the arm and you go, hey, did you see that?
Magic water.
She had an empty glass, but now the glass is full again. that is obviously something kind of weird. And unless it's a movie about a magical glass that continues to fill itself, that is a mistake.
Yes.
And as we read on, it says, this is what's known as a continuity error, something that doesn't make sense from shot to shot. As you know from watching TV and movies, they have different shots, different angles, right? At one point, the camera's very close to the actor's face to show their feeling. And then a few seconds later, they cut to a camera that's further away that shows two people hugging or something like that. Those are the different shots. And as they jump from shot to shot, this, of course, takes place as they're making the movie. Someone makes a continuity error. Someone makes a mistake. They didn't replace that glass of water in the actress's hand with an empty glass. They continue to use the full glass. That is the mistake. So this is an error, a mistake, something that you do wrong. You didn't pay attention. You didn't notice what you were doing. Maybe you were working too quickly. You make an error. You make a mistake. If you do it on a test, you'll lose some points.
Here we have an example sentence for the word error. If you work slowly and carefully, you will avoid unnecessary errors. You will avoid unnecessary mistakes. We have a phrase in this sentence, and it is be known as. So if someone or something is known as a particular thing, that means they are called by that name. It's not necessarily their original name, but it is the one that people call them. So for example, my real name is Catherine, but most people know me as Kat. Okay, so yeah, continuity errors that don't make sense. And it's the responsibility of the script supervisor to spot these things and correct them. So that's the name of the job, this kind of job that we're talking about, the script supervisor. They supervise the script, so therefore they're the script supervisor. And it's their responsibility to do these things. And responsibility is a noun that means something that somebody has to do or they have to be in charge of. Basically, it's kind of like their job or their duty. So, you know, if somebody comes up to you and says, you're responsible for bringing food to the movie set, then that's your responsibility. That means that's the thing you have to do. Nobody else is doing it. It's just your job. So if you want to put it as an adjective, we have responsible. So an example might be, most young children are not ready for the responsibility of taking care of a dog. That's true. It's a big job to take care of a dog. You're taking care of another living animal, living being, and it's a really big task. It's a big job. Also, we have this word spot in here, to spot something. Now, spot is a verb it kind of means see, but it's a very specific meaning of see. It means like you suddenly notice something. It's an informal way of saying I suddenly noticed something or I suddenly saw something. Or if you were looking for something and then you see it when you were looking for it and you go, aha! That's spotting something. So often, yeah, when people are hiding, they don't want to be spotted. Like when, maybe an undercover policeman or an undercover agent is trying to be sneaky and trying to make it seem like they're not doing anything weird, and then somebody notices that they're a policeman, and they say, I've been spotted. Here's an example sentence for spot, like see. It took Milton a few minutes to spot the lizard hiding in the tree. So he was looking for the lizard, he was looking, and then he saw it. He finally spotted it. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Or yeah, if you're trying to find something that's very rare or unusual, if you go to a busy shopping mall on the weekend, it might be hard to spot an empty parking place. So you'll drive around and your dad's looking out one side, your mom's like, you're in the back with your brother or sister, you're all looking up. Hey, look, there's one over there. You spotted that parking spot because there aren't many of them, so it's very difficult to find one. All right, so basically when you're a script supervisor, you kind of act like the policeman or the police officer or the referee. You're kind of there sitting back going, all right, is everyone paying attention? And it's your job to be the final person to pay attention and avoid these mistakes, to spot these errors before they end up on the movie screen and we at home are going, wait a minute, that was a mistake. So it says being a script supervisor is a complicated job. You have to be really good at noticing details, really good at keeping track of what's going on, what has been done, what hasn't been done. It's basically it's the script supervisor's job to make sure none of these little mistakes slip through and end up on the movie screen. It's complicated. Something complicated has lots of different parts to it. The opposite of complicated would be simple or basic or easy. So if something's complicated, it's difficult, it's challenging, it's multifaceted, you could say. There's a lot of different parts to it. There's a lot to pay attention to, a lot to know, and also a lot of chance to make mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the more things that a script supervisor catches before they start filming, the less things have to change after they already are done.
Absolutely.
So the less they have to go back and do shots again or fix them in the computer. So I think this is a pretty important job.
And it would be weird because you'd sort of have to be the police officer for the directors and the actors. These are the more powerful people in the movie, right?
Exactly.
But if you said to the director, sir, actually, she was holding it in her right hand, and he's like, no, it was in her left hand. You'd have to be quite confident in what you're saying to kind of tell them, because these are your boss, but you have to kind of say, hey, boss, you're going to make a mistake there.
Right. All right, so script supervisors actually start their work as soon as they receive a movie script. So let's see, the first thing you'd have to do, you have to pitch the movie to the studio, you have to write the script, and then when the script is all written out, they get it next. So that means that as soon as they receive it, they have to start their job. When you say as soon as something, it means right at the same time as something else. So when they receive the movie script, right then they start their job. If you might say, like, as soon as I get home, I will do something, then it means you go inside the house and right away you do something like that. So as soon as something else.
Wow, so they don't wait until they actually start filming.
Nope.
They'll probably start working on it months before that when the actors are just learning their parts and stuff. So the script supervisor basically will know the script the best of all the people working on the film. They'll have studied every single page, every single scene, and by the time they actually start shooting or start making the film, the script supervisor will probably know that script very, very well. And they need to because it's complicated.
Yeah.
But when we have complicated things, there are ways to make them a little easier to deal with. It says they break it down into scenes, noting every character, sound effect, special effect, and prop. There you go. Those are the details. Those are the things they have to pay attention to. But they do it by breaking it down into scenes. Movies, as you know, probably are broken into scenes.
Yeah, of course.
It starts off in someone's home, and then we're in the kitchen, and then they move to outside, and then someone gets in a car, and we have them talking in a car. That's a different scene. And then they get downtown and walk into an office. That's a different scene. So they break it down into these scenes, these parts, these chapters. They note, they pay attention to, and write down, if they're doing it that way, every person in the movie, every character, what they say, what they're doing, what they're wearing, the sound effects, the noises that we hear in the background. When they're talking in the home, is there a radio playing in the background? We have to make sure that the song that's there doesn't get cut or doesn't jump to another song too quickly.
Or doesn't not match the time period.
Doesn't match the time period, all that kind of stuff. The special effects, of course. Movies today use a lot of special effects using computers, CGIs. And so they have to pay attention to all that special stuff. As I said, break down. When you break something down, you kind of take something that's big and complicated and difficult, and then you sort of divide it into smaller, easier bites. Think of the way you would bite into a sandwich. You wouldn't stick the whole sandwich in your mouth. No,
unless you're an animal.
Unless you're an animal or really hungry or just have a giant mouth. No, you break it down. You take it into bites, and it's easier to deal with. It's easier to process in smaller amounts. That's what we do with complicated things.
Right.
And a special effect, as we mentioned, special effects, visual effects, sound effects. These are special things created using technical means for films and television. When Harry Potter is shooting lightning out of the end of his wand, there is not real lightning shooting out of Daniel Radcliffe's hand or whatever. That is a special effect. They use computers, they use lighting and camera tricks.
Right.
So this is the way we see all these wonderful things that don't really happen in nature, what they're able to create them in movies. For example, most popular movies today use a lot of special effects. If the Marvel movies didn't have special effects, we would have
blue screens.
We would have Robert Downey Jr. in a green pantsuit fighting against a tennis ball on the end of a stick, which is used to represent, Thanos or something like that.
So it's a little bit crazy how much acting they have to do where they don't have the thing in front of them that is actually in the movie.
Especially science fiction,
superhero
movies, things like that. And we also, as I mentioned, props. Props are things that actors in anything, plays, TVs, movies, anything that they use. Their clothes are a prop, but we call that a costume.
Yeah.
But here it would be like a phone that they have to use or a pen they have to pick up or a plate that they're washing.
Yep. So, yeah, they have a lot of work to do. It sounds like basically they're the ones who are kind of telling the camera crew like where they should do what and how many things they have to keep track of.
I imagine that they have the script, the written out story with all the lines the actors say. And for the continuity supervisor, it's probably covered in pen marks. They're probably using purple pen, red pen, green, to keep track of all of these different things.
Exactly. So how did they do this? Well, in the old days, they used paper breakdown sheets to record this.
Okay.
In the old days being, like before computers were a big deal. But now there are computer programs to help them.
Really?
Yes.
So they probably use an iPad now or something like that.
Yeah, they might use a special kind of software. Yeah. So
it's amazing that a computer company would make special software for this job because there aren't that many of these people in the world, but it would be really useful for them.
It absolutely would. And it's like any computer thing that can help you get organized, I think is a good idea because humans tend to make errors and that's why they have this job in the first place.
So they don't need all those multicolored pens. They can just use the computer software. That's great.
Yeah. So then you see this other breakdown, paper breakdown sheets, and it's one word here, and that's because it's a noun form of breaking something down. So saying you are making a breakdown is another way of saying you break something down. And then we have record. So we record something. That's the verb form of the word record, and the noun form would be record. So you have different stresses there. So record means to kind of write something down or put something in a place where it's easy to remember, easy to see, like taking notes, something kind of like that. Yeah. So an example of that might be, as the president spoke, journalists recorded the words she said. Of course, they would want to do that because you're not going to remember everything that somebody says. But if you write it down and record it, or maybe record it with a tape recorder, then you're going to be able to remember it and bring it up more easily.
It says this process, breaking these things down, using the software, and just generally the whole job of the continuity supervisor, this process organizes the script so the film crew knows which scenes it will shoot on each day. Think of all the shots that go into the average movie. I don't know what it would be. It would be hundreds of different shots.
Maybe thousands.
And think of how confusing it would be if you left work on Monday and came back on Tuesday and everyone's like,
what do we do?
Right, so what did we do yesterday? And there, you have to go through it. Did we do that? I'm not sure. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't finish it. Maybe lunch break came in. Anyway, so they have to keep all of this stuff organized. So the crew, the group of workers working on the film, knows what they've done and what they still have to do because you don't want to double the work and you would also don't want to forget things. The crew, when we talk about a crew, it's just an organized group of workers usually working together on the same job and quite likely having different skills.
Right.
All right. So when you talk about a film crew, that's everyone from the director and producer to the camera operators, the lighting people, as you mentioned, costume people, all of these different people have different skills, do different jobs, but they work together to do one thing, make a movie. But there are crews and all sorts of things. Here's another example. The ground crew got the airplane ready for takeoff. Yeah, all those people around that airplane when you're getting on, they're putting fuel in the plane, loading it with food, putting your bags underneath, driving the plane out to the runway.
Yeah.
That's the ground crew. So they have different jobs, but their job is to get the plane ready to leave.
Yeah, and then the flight crew would be the one that's on the plane and helping you to, be comfortable, eat your food, driving the plane. That's the captain, of course.
Yeah, and then the cabin crew, we'd also talk about the cabin crew. They're the people giving you food and drinks in the back back of the plane. So all these different jobs, but they're working together as a team.
Right. So, yeah, they have a big, big job, so they have to organize. It sounds like they're almost the schedule keeper for the film crew for the whole shooting thing. Yeah, so it also means everyone knows what's required for each scene.
There you go. They keep them organized and working and pointing in the right direction. This is just the tip of the iceberg, though. There's even more work to do when the shooting starts. We haven't even started shooting the movie.
Nope.
When we talk about shooting, it's another way of saying filming the movie. All right, so if you're doing the things before the shooting starts, you haven't actually turned on the lights or put film in the camera. That's what happens when you're shooting. The lights go on, they say silence and roll them and action. And then you're shooting the film. But of course, a lot of preparation goes on before that. So this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Right, and that's actually our pocket phrase go for the day. So we are going to do that, and then right after that, we're going to go back to our For You chat.
Pocket phrase go!
哇，王岩写西对桃蔡韵如哈，面对我一连串的攻势呢，他已经招架不住了。我跟你讲哈，All this drama was just the tip of the iceberg. 大家都知道，冰山呢在水面上看到的部分，其实只是它的一小部分，水底下呢可是比你看到的还要大上不知道多少倍喽。所以呢 ，the tip of the iceberg 其实呢就跟我们中文说的冰山一角，意思呢是一模模一样样，就是啊你没看到的，还没发生的，还可多着呢。
For You chat.
Okay, our For You chat question for today. It's not from the article, but I thought it'd be kind of an interesting one to talk about. Have you ever actually caught a continuity error in a movie or a TV show? And what was it?
This would probably be in something that you've seen a few times, right? Because you're really paying attention now to other parts of the movie, not just the actors.
Or
and
it's really, really obvious.
Or it's really, really obvious, absolutely. So what about you? I think there was one, it wasn't from movies, it was from a TV show, and it actually made the news. Was it this year or last year?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Game of Thrones?
That's right.
Yeah, so in the last episode of Game of Thrones...
Was it the last episode?
The very last episode.
Wow.
And I think it actually happened a couple of times during the season, but one of the actors had a Starbucks cup.
Yeah.
And this is a medieval fantasy setting, so they did not have Starbucks in Westeros. No. I think they just forgot to take it off the set before they started shooting the scene.
There you go. So that's a very obvious one. You'll notice other ones, for example, someone has a scratch on their cheek in one scene, and then, 5 minutes later in the movie, the scratch is gone.
No, that happens a lot.
Their clothes are dirty or, strange in one way, but then suddenly they're not strange anymore. So when you notice the ones that are obviously the whole time period is wrong, those are really fun. But there are a lot of other little ones, just, like we mentioned with the glass that suddenly is empty when it was full before, or vice versa. So there you go. Pay attention, guys. Pay attention to those continuity errors. They're good fun to catch. I'm sure you can find a wonderful list of them on the internet.
Oh, for sure.
Even some of your favorite movies, perhaps even movies that you've watched many times, and you'll say, what? I didn't notice that, so you'll have to go back and watch them again. But it'll make you feel like a bit of a movie detective.
Agree, yeah. And sometimes they put in little jokes or something like that on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like they call those Easter eggs. You're supposed to find the hidden fun little thing for fans. Yeah. But anyway, we have more to talk about in day 2, and I think we're just about out of time for day 1. So we are going to see you tomorrow.
All right. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Script supervisors, the continuity experts. You're watching a movie when you notice something strange. Just a moment ago, the actress finished drinking a glass of water. But in the very next shot, the glass is full again. This is what's known as a continuity error, something that doesn't make sense from shot to shot. It's the responsibility of the script supervisor to spot these things and correct them. Being a script supervisor is a complicated job. Script supervisors start their work as soon as they receive a movie script. They break it down into scenes, noting every character, sound effect, special effect, and prop. In the old days, they used paper breakdown sheets to record this, but now there are computer programs to help them. This process organizes the script so the film crew knows which scenes it will shoot on each day. It also means everyone knows what's required for each scene. This is just the tip of the iceberg, though. There's even more work to do when the shooting starts.
Vocabulary Review.
Error. Even though Samantha explained the error to Luke, he still didn't understand what he did wrong. Responsibility. Jerry was given responsibility for planning the class party, and he made sure everyone had fun. Spot. Jonah stood at the front of the ship and tried to spot whales. Special effect. The special effects in that old movie look surprisingly real. Record. The police officer pulled out his pen and paper to record what he saw at the crime scene. Crew. The captain added 3 more people to his crew before the ship sailed across the Pacific.
智慧小补帖
Complicated. Prop.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net